Hey friends, are you incredibly frustrated because you're trying to learn French and it turns out it's a lot harder than other people told you and you feel kind of like a failure because you're not progressing as fast as other people that are learning at the same time as you? Then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Patricia. I am an American that lives in France. I've been living here for 6 or 7 years. I don't know, I'll have to check the dates when I came. I don't even remember now. But I came here originally as a study abroad student because I wanted to become fluent in French. And now I actually run my business and I am a not a French YouTuber technically because I'm not a French citizen, but a YouTuber in French and a successful channel and everything. So I kind of wanted to share some of my tips and tricks with you because somebody actually asked me recently in an Instagram comment and I was like, I cannot respond in a comment because I talk too much. That's going to take way too long. I'll just respond in a video format. Tip number 1 is to study your butt off. No matter how much you think maybe this is going to magically happen by osmosis, your teachers are going to be happy I'm saying this, by the way. You need to find whatever method works best for you for studying, but a lot of the time, especially in French with all of the grammar rules and all of different conjugations and everything, just taking the time to write things out the old-fashioned way, practicing until you never ever want to see the verb avoir again in your entire life, that could really help you. Which brings me to point number 2. When you're studying, please don't forget that the tips and things that you learned during your first year French class or whatever language you're learning, those things generally don't go away with time. I'm starting to speak French while talking. Those things generally don't go away with time. In 4 years, in level 4 French, people are still going to be having things. So you're going to have to learn how to properly conjugate the verb avoir. You can't just memorize it really quick for a test and then kind of forget it. Oh my gosh, I cannot speak English anymore. Forget it. You can't just casually learn it really quick for a test, put it in the back of your mind, forget it, because these things are going to keep coming up. Être, to be, people are going to keep being in French. It's just going to keep happening. And if you want to be fluent in the language, you're going to need to keep up on all of that. Number 3, we live in an age of social media, which is a beautiful and terrible thing. I know people have really strong opinions on this, but for language learning, it's just amazing because you have so many opportunities to connect with people that speak a different language than you. So if you're trying to learn language, you can easily contact people with Twitter, with YouTube. You can find whole communities. I know in my videos in French, I often have people that are American that come into the comments and are like, hey, I'm American. I really want to have a partner to speak French with. If somebody could contact me, here's my email address. And then they have usually 10 people respond me like, I would love to learn English. We could do a great exchange and it would be wonderful. So definitely keep that in mind. You have so many more resources than your parents did, which is awesome, and definitely take advantage of that. Also, these resources are more fun. I personally, rather than having watching an old black and white French film and trying to figure out the different meanings of different words and stopping every couple seconds, I would much rather watch a YouTube video. That is so much more fun, especially because there are so many different subjects in different languages that are being on different channels now. It's really exciting. You can just go and pick whatever you want to talk about. Beauty, you got a channel for that. If you want to talk about personal development, there is a channel in French for that. I'm sure there's channels for that in Spanish, in Korean, etc. And you can pick whatever subject you're super passionate about and you can find somebody who's talking about that in that language. If you're passionate about just everything. Number 3, kind of in the same domain, there are lots of free applications or some that are relatively cheap that you can use to help you chat with other people. There was one that I have on my phone. I believe it's called Hi Native, and that's a really good application. If you're trying to learn French or you're doing a paper or something like that, and you're missing one French word, you can go on, you can be like, hey, what does this mean in French? Or hey, how do I say this English phrase in French? And you'll have real native speakers who are going to respond to you relatively quickly, which is awesome. And you can also help people who are trying to learn English and need help with their homework, etc., which is a really nice thing to do. It's free. There are tons of language learning apps. There are apps that'll get you in contact with different native speakers so you can have kind of a virtual pen pal, which is super fun, and get to know people that way. Definitely take advantage of technology because it's everywhere and there's so much available to you now for free that was never available for our parents' generation. Number 4, don't be afraid to look like an idiot, because if you go to the other country and you're trying to speak the language for the first time, yep, you're going to look like an idiot. You're going to say stupid things. You're going to say things that are incorrect, sometimes majorly inappropriate without meaning to, and you just have to check your ego at the door. You just have to be like, listen, I have a strong accent. People are going to know that I'm not a native speaker, and it's fine. They'll forgive me. I have made so many errors, and until I was speaking really fluently when I was in the beginning stages, people always forgave them. Now sometimes people are like, I don't think you made a mistake. I think you knew what you were saying. And sometimes it's like, no, really, I did not know that was a swear word, or I would not have said it in front of your child. I'm sorry. Yes, fun stuff. I don't even know what number we're on anymore. I don't remember. I should have written this down before I started. Yes, don't be afraid to look like an idiot. If you have the opportunities to study abroad, don't be afraid to get really immersed in different groups of activities and fun things that you like. Again, this is a big theme here. Like, well, the first tip was to like study and go over things and write your verbs a million times and all that stuff and listen to French. Oh, that's kind of the boring part. But the fun part is then you're going to take all those information. But the fun part is you can take all that information, all those vocabulary words you learned, and you can put them to use doing sports. If you love soccer, join the soccer team. If you love doing poetry, join a poetry team when you come do your study abroad. Most universities, I would say all universities, I'm pretty sure all universities, they have lots of clubs and programs that are in place just to help you like have fun and do these different things and have extracurricular activities. And you can go and like really immerse yourself with like real French soccer players or whatever your passion is. It's going to be so much more fun to learn the language that way than it is to sit home alone and just stare at your books 24/7. And the last tip is to make sure your resources that you're using to learn the language are varied. There were lots of like rules about learning French and like rules about speaking and things you should and should not pronounce and like the ends of words and things like that nobody taught me until I actually got to France. But I realized later that if I had used like different resources and different teachers, I could have gotten like really interesting things. My teacher was amazing. My college French teacher, she was awesome. But like if I had used other teachers and other resources next to that, I would have learned a lot more and probably a lot quickly and learned different things, because teachers tend to be like good at teaching certain things and other teachers are better at teaching other aspects of the language. It's kind of like if you're teaching English to your child and you're the only person that's speaking English to them, their English is going to be very limited. But if you start adding in books and if you start adding in TV shows and cartoons and you start adding in other children that speak English, their vocabulary is going to be a lot more rich and varied and their grammar is going to be a lot more correct. If you want to see more videos about how awesome it is to live in France and the life of being an expat, etc., please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell because I don't do videos as often as I should, even though I have a project coming up and it's probably coming back soon. I love y'all and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Ciao.